Hey, what's up? Tim Charron here. I teach singers and bands how to book great gigs and explode your music career. So I'm in the middle of a little mini series telling some stories about what I learned from certain national acts that I got to work with. And I want to tell you guys about some of the things that I learned from Charlie Daniels, the late, great Charlie Daniels. And there's a lot of the same concepts in a lot of these stories, and that's why I like to tell them, and I like to emulate these people. And one of the reasons that we should all really be working towards our dreams and having and building little by little, step by step, baby steps, building a career, whether it's music or not, but of course, in my case, and what I'm teaching y'all is music. So building a music career that we can all be proud of, no matter where we are. If we're just going from the bedroom to open mics to our first, paid solo or duo gigs, or we're going from playing in a band in bars, and we want to start playing festivals, or wherever you are in your journey. There are these really amazing perks that can happen when you really believe in what you're doing, and you just apply persistence and you really work hard at it, And this is one of the things. This is one of the stories that, man, basically what I'm trying to say is, if I wasn't a musician, if I wasn't in music, if I didn't teach myself how to play guitar and sing and write songs, and if I didn't book all of these great gigs, and that's really the linchpin to it all, the leverage in the music business as an independent musician is booking your own gigs and getting bigger and better gigs. And then the more gigs that you book for yourself, the more you'll attract booking agents who can book gigs for you, and it creates momentum. But the moments, the experiences that you can experience only through music, it's amazing. And I'm sure that a lot of you listening and watching already know this. And if you're not a musician and you're a music fan, then I'm sure you understand that as well. Like, just music brings people together, and it forms these connections that would never otherwise happen. So what I learned from Charlie Daniels. Number one, one thing that I learned from Charlie Daniels, which is I will take with me forever, is how old that Charlie was when I got to work with him. I got to work with him a bunch of times. I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 times. And how old he was, yet when he hit the stage, how on fire he was, and how energetic, and how it's inspiring. It's motivational, to think like that. Someone, he was definitely in his 80s, and he would just light up a crowd, just get thousands of people going, and moving and having a blast for however long, hour and a half, 2 hours. And it was such a contrast to see him off stage before the show, and he's moving slowly, and he's a big dude. He was a very big guy, moving very slowly, which I guess is to be expected when you're in your 80s and you've had such a long career. But man, he hits the stage, and music, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, this guy just channeled the power of music and would just be a ball of energy and would light up the stage at 80 something years old. So it was pretty incredible to watch. It was pretty incredible to watch before and after. The other thing that I learned from Charlie Daniels and working with him is just how gracious he was, and just how nice he was. And I'll never forget one of the first times we met him. He was sitting down backstage, and we went over to say hi, and he asked, "Oh, you guys want to take a photo?" And this was one of the most memorable experiences I've had in music. I'll tell you in a little bit the other part of this, but it was me, Smidge, and my dad. And my dad was a big fan, so this is really special to me because I got to have my dad experience this whole thing because of my little bit of success that I've built up. So it makes me very proud. So, but just to show you how Charlie he was just a cool guy, just a very personable guy. It was funny. He had his hat off, and we all went to take a picture. And he's like, "Oh wait!" He stopped everybody. He's like, "I need to get my hat because nobody will know who I am. He's just gonna have a picture with some guy." And so he grabbed his hat, put it on, and of course, he's extremely recognizable with his big cowboy hat. So the really cool part was, I don't know if it was this show or a different show, but I know my dad was there, and we had just opened for Charlie Daniels, and we basically, during Charlie's whole set, now imagine this, right? You just opened for him, thousands of people, great show, super fun. I'm with the wifey and my dad, and my dad's a big fan of Charlie Daniels, and we're backstage, basically sitting on the stage, right? And we are right behind Charlie's, I believe it's his manager and also his fiddle tech. So we got to watch this electric show with all these people going crazy, Charlie Daniels rocking out to thousands of people, and just being there with my dad, and just for him to experience that basically right on the stage, and him being a fan of Charlie Daniels was irreplaceable to me. It was very special. And it was super cool because Charlie Daniels' fiddle tech, when Charlie would break a string on the fiddle, which he would do a couple times a show, he'd be up at the front of the stage, center of the stage, and he'd break a string on the fiddle, and he would turn around, and we're talking like 30 feet maybe. He would they had it all choreographed. They did it a million times, I'm sure. Charlie Daniels would throw the fiddle all the way to the back of the stage, and his fiddle tech would catch it, and he would grab another fiddle, and he would throw it the 30 feet. Charlie Daniels would catch it and just keep playing. Super, super awesome, super badass. So amongst many other things, I learned like to take, and this is something that I preach to all of my students, everybody who listens to the podcast and watches the podcast, is, man, go to shows and or watch shows online or whatever, and borrow stuff. I mean, I don't play fiddle, so I don't do this, but I just borrow the concept of taking, who does that as well? Brett Michaels does that with his acoustic guitar, where they throw it back and forth. But take these things and steal them. Steal ideas from people. It's called borrowing, right? Like if you see something cool in a show, that you think would work in your show, borrow it. And even if it's not that exact thing, obviously this is not stuff that they just do spur of the moment. They don't just, every once in a while, Charlie Daniels is like, "Oh, hey, I think I'm just going to throw my fiddle to the fiddle tech." Like, they've done this before. They've practiced it. They have it down pat. So incorporate stuff into your show that will add flavor to it, instead of just a bunch of dudes standing on stage playing music, but add little things that add up to a big show that will just be a little more entertaining here and there and there. So yeah, that was something that I learned. I learned how just gracious and what a kind, generous man Charlie Daniels was. I learned that you can be old, but man, you can be full of fire and put on an amazing show, and that music is one of the only things that can that can do that in my estimation. And I learned the value of working really hard so that you can experience stuff that you would never experience otherwise. And also to share that with my family was really, really special. So hope you like this little series of me just telling you my goofy little stories. I appreciate y'all listening and watching. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, whether it's on the Charron Zone, which is on all the audio podcasting platforms, or on YouTube. Let me know who your dream artist to work with is. Drop me a comment and let me know who you would absolutely love to open for. That'd be super cool. And grab the free guide, my gift to you, on how to book gigs the easy way at howtobookgigs.com.